Hey adventurers, so today is going to be our goals for 2024. It's also going to be a look back at 2023 and our goals for 2023 and look and see how we did on those. Is there anything else that I need to preamble before we get into this? I don't think so. So I'll start with the first one that I had was to make significant progress on my physical TBR. I did not do this. I made some progress on it because I did read a handful of the physical books that I had to read, and I also listened to several audiobooks of physical books that I own, and so I did make progress a little bit, but it wasn't significant progress. It was minuscule progress. So that one I can mark as a failure.
One of the goals for 2023 for me was to read all the books in my bookshelf, and I didn't accomplish this, and part of that is due to adding books throughout the year, but even then I wasn't super tied down to it, and that's largely due to my reading habits, but also the fact that a lot of the books that I physically own are ones that I can't get on audiobooks, which is why I physically own them, and I definitely go through books slower when I can't listen, or when I'm only physically reading, when I'm not listening to audiobooks. So that was part of it, but I didn't accomplish that goal this year.
My next two goals, I'll do these two together because they're very similar. One of them was continue my Redwall read through, and one of them is continue reading Wheel of Time. Both of them I did, and I made more progress on Wheel of Time, unfortunately. But I did read 4 books in the Redwall series this year, and I read 7 or 8. 8 maybe? I don't remember. 7 or 8 books in the Wheel of Time series. So I made some significant progress there in Wheel of Time. I've only got 5 books left. Is that right? I've just read 9 and there's 9 of 13, so I've got 4 books left, I think. Anyways, Redwall I only read 4 books and I meant to read, well that's not actually true, I only read 3.5 books. I meant to read more but I just ran out of time, couldn't fit them in type thing.
So one of my other goals for 2023 was to read a book a week, and for the first 30% of the year I exceeded this goal. For the next 30% of the year I probably hit this goal, and the last 30% of the year I failed, so 60% of the year I got it.
Then I had a goal to be better about writing reviews, especially on Goodreads. And this was specifically for things like the self-published books that I was reading and stuff like that. And for other books as well, because I like to have notes that I can look back on when I'm writing my video reviews. I did, in some ways, was better about writing reviews because I reviewed every book that I read. Well, pretty much every book. There's a couple that I didn't review. But I did a video review of every book that I read. And for the first half of the year, I did really good at keeping up with my Goodreads reviews as well. And then the second half of the year, basically non-existent. So I guess I neither failed nor achieved this goal. Then I wanted to finish out a bunch of series, and I was looking at it the other day. Finish out more series was the goal, and I was looking at it the other day, 3 days ago, something like that, and I was counting up the series that I had finished this year or made significant progress on, and there was a lot of them that I did, so I'm going to count this one as successful, but I don't remember what that number was or where I wrote them down or anything like that, or if I made note of actually how many I finished or anything like that, but I do know that I made progress on lots of series that I was going to, and I didn't start that many new series this year either, so that's good.
One of my other goals for 2023 was to read as many Enclave books as I could, and in some ways I think I hit the goal. I did read a lot of the Enclave books that I physically own or owned. Definitely hit that mark, I think. There's maybe, I don't know, there might be 1 or 2 that I haven't finished yet that I own. As far as ones I don't own, no, I didn't add a lot of Enclave books to my collection this season, so yes and no.
Then I had a goal to read more Arthurian literature and more Sanderson books. Sanderson I succeeded on. I read 7, I think, books this year of his, including the 4 secret novels. Arthurian I did really bad. I read 1 book, I think, is all that I read in the Arthurian. So that's one that I'll actually kind of continue over into my next year just because I want to, Redwall, Wheel of Time, and Arthurian are all kind of continue over to the next year, to 2024. And this is probably the only time I'll talk about that in this video. But I did good on the Sanderson, I didn't do good on the Arthurian.
And then my last goal for this year was to finish the Calculated series. And I did read Activated, which is the 3rd book in the Calculated series, and the last one currently released. But Liberated hasn't been released yet, so technically no, but I did complete my part as far as that goes. I did what I could.
The last one that I had was to read 65 books this year, and I have exceeded that. I'll get into my stats later in a different video, I think. But I read over 100 books this year, and so I definitely succeeded in that goal of 65 books per year. So part of our goals is not just reading specific, there's also writing as well as channel goals. And so for our writing goals, I only had one writing goal, and that was to make significant progress on the series that I'm writing. And I don't think I did that. I'm looking, or I'm trying to think back, and I know in the, no, that was last year. So yeah, I didn't hardly make any progress on this. There is some progress that was made because I was able to work out some plot points a little bit, but I didn't sit down and write very much of the show. So I can't say that I succeeded on that goal.
And my writing goal that I listed here was to finish the rough draft of my book by July. I don't remember when exactly I finished the rough draft, but I did complete the rough draft of my book this year, and I'm well into edits, well, semi-well into edits as of now. So I did complete the goal. I'm not sure if it was at the proper timeline, but I did hit it this year.
And then the handful of channel goals that we had was to do more collaborations. This one I succeeded in. I think I did 7 or 8 collaborations this year, most of them in the second half of this year. But that was good. I'm glad to have done that. I wanted to start doing some author interviews. This I never got to, mostly because the people that I wanted to interview, I didn't feel like I was in a position to interview them yet for lots of reasons. One of them, which is this next goal, which was to get a mic, get a microphone that we could use for this channel. And I haven't done that yet. Maybe I'll sit down and do it today on the 31st, but I doubt it. And so I think that I'll have failed in this goal as well. But it's one of those things that I will get to. I just have to find the mic that I actually want to purchase at this point. And then the last goal that I had for the channel goals was to build myself a bookcase that we could use as another backdrop in case Kate didn't want to use this one anymore or something like that. And again, I failed on that one. That was also a goal for 2022, and I failed in 2022. So this is going to continue on to 2024 and probably also fail in 2024. But those were all the channel goals that we had for 2023. We did make some progress for sure in some areas, and I'm happy with the collaborations that we were able to be a part of, or that I was able to. You did a couple of them as well. We did one with Patricia Meredith. I think you hopped on her channel a couple of times, and we both talked to her a couple of times. So that was really good. But there was, in terms of the other channel goals, I didn't really succeed in any of them other than that. So anyways, that is our goals for 2023. A look back at how we did on them. Now we're going to continue on to our goals for 2024. I know for me this is going to be a very different year. My reading is probably going to drastically plummet, so I didn't even put a book count that I would like to make it through. If I were to put a rough guess, I'd say 10 physical books. 10 to 12 physical books would be awesome if I could make it through 12 physical reads. I don't know if that's going to be the case or what's going to happen there. That's the only, as far as a reading goal, that's about the only goal that I have. Other than that, for several years now, I have planned on 2024 being what I'm calling a year of Lewis. And this is a year for me to dedicate time to reading C.S. Lewis, specifically his Space Trilogy, because I haven't read that and I want to do that. And then I want to also, along with that, is read any other C.S. Lewis that I have. I think I have 1 or 2 other books that he wrote, and so I'll try and read those if I can. The goal is the Space Trilogy.
I think I don't have a lot of goals or expectations I'm setting for myself in 2024 as far as reading. I know 2023 flipped on its head in the middle of the year and my reading really changed up. But I'm hoping to do a book a month. That's kind of a minimum for me. I would really like to complete a book a month if possible.
And then the other 2 reading goals are kind of go hand in hand. One of them is read what I own. So I'm not opposed to buying more books, and I'm not going to ban myself from buying books or anything like that, but I do want to make it a priority to read the books that I have on my shelves, if at all possible. And along with that is read the books that have been sent to me, specifically by self-published authors, smaller authors. I want to continue reading those books and supporting those authors when I have the opportunity. And I've got 8 to 10 books right now or more that have been sent to me by authors, and I really want to get to them and review them, and I just am too slow a physical reader to actually make progress on them in a reasonable amount of time. So I do want to prioritize those as much as I can next year.
I also want to read at least 2 classics this year. I love reading classics, and I find they really help liven my experience when I read. When I incorporate them overall, I just enjoy my overall reading experiences a little bit better. So I'm hoping to finish at least 2 classics in 2024. My last reading goal was just that I want to read at least one not self-published or indie book. I think I'll get to that. I've got several in my bookshelf that I want to read, so that's my last reading goal.
All right, and then these are writing goals. Do you have writing goals?
Oh, yeah?
Okay, I also have some writing goals. This year I know that my schedule is going to be drastically different. And so I'm not planning for reading, but I'm planning to attempt to try and write. And so one of those things is, well, I just mentioned my show, or my series in our 2023 goals. That I didn't make any progress on. That's one of the things, I want to make some progress on that. How am I referring to that? I want to finish the first draft of the season 1 of my low fantasy script, and outline season 2 of the low fantasy script series.
I guess my main writing goal, and I haven't looked beyond this yet just because I want to get here first. It's kind of at the front of my mind. At the 1st of February, I'm supposed to send my book into my editor for a developmental edit. So I'm not sure what I'll do from there. I presumably incorporate edits once I have feedback. So aside from that, which is my immediate goal and it's top priority for me right now, but that's my main one.
Then let's see. So I've got a handful of other scripts that I am working on. One of them is a sci-fi short film. That one I have completed a first draft and I am well through edits on a second draft. I want to get that edit out by the end of January, or get that second draft done by the end of January, and then by the end of the year I want to have a completed script for that film. And I know January to the end of the year is 11 months, plenty of time for me to make that happen. But I also, if possible, would like to get that filmed, see if I can film that or whatever is the case. So that sci-fi short film is one that I want to finish the script of. And then I have another short film script that it doesn't really have a genre. It's kind of just like a contemporary monologue almost. And I just want to get that script finalized or drafted at the very least, and then see where that one goes as well. As far as non-scripts, as far as like books or short stories or whatever, I've got a high fantasy short story. There's a high fantasy world that I've been developing for several years, 5 to 10 years at this point. And I have a series that's set in that world. And that series, I do want to outline the series if I possibly can by the end of this year. That's one of the goals. But also there's a short story that's set in that world that I want to finish. I have written maybe a third of it at this point. I'm not sure because it's just kind of writing whatever comes out. I don't have an outline for it. It's just kind of put words on the page and go until I get to the ending point. I have a rough idea of what I want it to be, and so I know that I'm maybe about a third of the way through. I also have a duology set in a different fantasy world that I haven't been developing for super long time, but I got the idea for it a while back, and then I started drawing a map that I was intending to be used for the one fantasy series, but then as I started developing that map, it doesn't fit with the world or with the story that's happening, so I switched it, and it actually fits better with this other duology that I want to tell the story in. And so I want to outline that duology, and if possible, by the end of the year, I would like to write the first draft of book 1 of that duology. I'm not going to have it finalized or anything like that, but I think it would be cool if I could get started on that first draft and make significant progress on it. So those are the main things. I do have two maybes. I would maybe like to start working on something Arthurian, and I would maybe like to start working on another kind of generic fantasy allegorical TV series. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking 3 seasons, but I don't know at all yet. It's not very well developed. I've got some magic, I've got some ideas, but it's not really much of a plot or really anything other than some ideas, but if I would like to maybe outline that series and see what I can come up with that. But that is really all of my goals. So as you can see, this is going to be probably a more writing heavy year for me, but I don't know what's going to happen for certain, and so I don't know how exactly the goals are going to work out, and so they're all maybes. If I can do this, then that would be awesome. If not, it's not a big deal. But yeah, so that is our goals for 2024. We're looking forward to seeing how we do on this, and if we can come back next year at the end of 2024 and say that we've completed these goals or any of these goals. So thank you guys for watching an Erudite Adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday, and have our social medias linked in the description down below. We'll see you guys again soon. Stay well.